Coming to you from the studios at the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, it's the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast.
Rock and roll Chicago, rock and roll Chicago, my hometown. Well, I was born in the city, gonna rock the city, Chicago. Chicago rock and rollers are the best here around.
Hey everybody, it's Ray the Roadie.
And this is Hollywood Mike for another fabulous episode of
As the world turns. I don't know. Where are you getting at?
I have no idea.
Just tell you, good job Sunday night at the Spring Soul Sessions.
Thank you.
That was a great show.
That was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah.
I think I'd do it again.
We got so inspired that we're going to the House of Blues Gospel Brunch now.
Yeah. Wow. Excellent. Yeah. No, that was fun. I wanted to do it because I'd never done that before.
That was a good time.
And it was a good learning experience. It was a lot of fun.
Some great music, great people.
Hats off to Jamie McLaren, who organized that whole thing at the Roxy. That was awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And money went to a good cause.
Yes, it did. Absolutely. So we've got a couple folks in the studio with us tonight.
A couple?
Yeah, just a few.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've got more people in the studio right now than we've ever had.
I think we might.
Yeah, but that's okay. Yeah.
That's right.
So who we have with us?
We got God. No, it's the Billy Gray Band.
Billy Gray Band. Oh, that's not the one I wanted.
No.
There we go. That's it right there.
You'll learn those someday.
I will eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So before the voice of God comes in here, and you guys will know what I'm talking about in just a second, I gotta say something about Billy Gray and the Billy Gray Band. I gotta say something. So we met. So little backstory, right? We met a few years ago at the place that shall not be mentioned.
Yes.
On this podcast, right? Fantastic place.
Mm-hmm.
Met for the very first time, and I heard him sing and play for the very first time. And I have to tell you this right now. We've had a few country artists in the studio, and we're all familiar with country artists and everything. But I'm going to tell you what, Billy Gray and the Billy Gray Band, this is the real deal. They are the real deal. Okay. It's Billy Gray and his guys. They are not a bunch of failed heavy metal musicians decided to move out to Nashville. They're not people who were born in Chicago that said, I can do that shit. No, Billy Gray is the real deal. And he brings that persona along to the music and the whole bit. And that was the first thing that impressed me about him. Now,
well, I guess we don't need the podcast now.
No, we don't.
That's pretty much done.
No, we don't. But now we're going to introduce the voice of God that is Billy Gray. How you doing, Billy?
Doing good. About yourself?
Everybody out there is like, whoa.
Yeah. You have no idea. You have absolutely no idea what it's like going to an open mic after him, because he's singing on a mic. He's singing and just all this bass is coming through, right? And you're wondering about what is it I'm going to sing? And you're like, oh shit, I got to go change it. Because it does. It just comes through exactly like that the whole time. So tell everybody about yourself, Billy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing real good.
First of all, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you, Mike.
It's been a couple years, man.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. We're excited to be here, man. It's gosh, when we got contacted by you guys to come out here, it was just it was pretty cool to be able to reach out to the band and say, hey guys, you want to head on out here and do a podcast? And they were all excited about it, and they're like, hell yeah, we'll be out there.
Yeah.
So
like, what's a podcast?
right. Yeah. Sounds good. Let's do it.
the youngin' in the band.
Right.
You know what it was.
She's the only one that but yeah, I mean, we bring our brand of country music. It's old school country music. It's unapologetic. There's enough mainstream stuff being played out there, top 40 stuff, which is great. And I think there's some very, very talented artists out there. But I think my vocals fit more of the old school stuff. I'm from West Virginia. It's what I was brought up on, back of a station wagon, listened to AM radio. And there was a time when you listened to what Dad played. You didn't. The kid didn't run the iPod in the back seat.
Yeah, that went for the radio. That went for the television.
Yep.
That's
dinner.
Yep.
It was everything.
Whatever it was. Your dad watched 60 Minutes. You were watching 60 Minutes, talking about the war in Beirut. At the age of 5.
And there was there was still a remote control back then, but it had 2 feet.
Yeah.
And a heartbeat, and that was you.
Definitely.
That's
and
it.
You could hear the clunk of the television every time you'd switch it.
Yep. Yeah.
But I came out here in 2019 because of my beautiful wife, and we met actually on a flight prior to the flight at Midway, and exchanged numbers. And next thing you know, we're finding ourselves contacting each other, flying back and forth, and did that for about 3 years. And then I finally moved out here in 2019, and kind of got thrown to the wolves as far as the music scene. I wasn't planning on doing it for a living. I was a railroader for 20 years. Did welding and, rebuilding cars for CSX. One day, I'd had enough when I came out here, and I'm like, that's it. I'm done with it. So I went to something less dangerous and started repoing semi-trucks in the city of Chicago.
Oh, God.
And in the city of Indianapolis.
How many times were you shot at?
None. I've seen the business end a couple times, but
Yeah. Wow.
and a lot of people don't speak English, believe it or not, in the industry.
Okay.
The people that I went to have words with and asked them if I could have the property back that belonged to somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some really interesting parts of Chicago.
Right.
And met some really interesting people.
Yeah.
Probably about the best way I can put it, nicest way I can put it.
Sure. Right.
And then COVID hit and kind of shut everything down. I was writing music, and I put together a song. My wife said, "Would you video that?" And I said, "Yeah." So I'm in pajamas and a T-shirt, and I put together something, and I give it to her, and she puts it out on Facebook, and it's like 20-some thousand views. I go, "Oh, God.
Wow.
I'm in my pajamas, and what the hell?"
Yeah,
so
it's like, did you stay up all night listening to this 20,000 times?
right, exactly.
His wife is in the studio. Or his wife is sitting there.
Yes. So, yeah, we literally, it got out there, and a gentleman by the name of Jeff Swanson heard it, and I was getting a haircut one day. I came out, and my wife was on the phone with him because she knew him, and he said, "Is there any way I could get him to come up here and play a show?" And I'm like, "Sure." I hadn't planned on doing music, and it just happened. Fast forward, I get a call from Drew Dowry to put a band together to come and open for his crew at the Kenny Live at Joe's Live, and I'm like, "Sure." So I reach out to Bobby. I had met Bobby one time on the drums, and I reached out to a couple other people, and they said, "Yeah, we'll come and do it." So we did that. It kind of took off on its own, and it just started building, and it's got the best way I can explain it is it's like surfing a giant wave, and you've never surfed in your life.
Yep.
And you're not sure how to swim if you fell off the board. So you just kind of staying on it.
Yeah.
And since then, we've had some great people that we've met, some great places we've played. And right now I have what I consider to be the best of the best playing on that stage with me. And I'm not just talking about musicianship. I'm talking about human beings. We have Generational on bass. She's in here in the studio with us.
Yep.
Got Sean the Chant. Sean brings steel guitar and dobro, and he's very, very good at what he does. Bobby is our percussionist, so he'll play drums, and he'll go out with me a lot when I'm doing acoustic shows, and he'll play a cajon. And he brings all these other little instruments, just for flair. And he's a great harmony guy. And then on our lead guitar is Alan Ward, and Alan plays everything, and he does it very, very well. They're all very hard workers, but mainly they are good people. That's what's important to me. I want to see where professionalism is paramount. We show up to a show, we want to give the venue and talent buyers exactly what they've expected. As far as the way that we conduct ourselves, but we want to give them beyond what they expected when it comes to our performance and the way that we talk with our fan base and everything. It's just kind of made its own life. I don't know how else to explain it. And I'm just so proud of each and every one of them and what they do and how they do it and how they carry themselves. So I'm just blessed to be here. I'm just lucky.
Isn't that,
I really am.
That's when it happens. The second you decide that, I'm not going to take this seriously. That's what, I had no intention of being a musician. I didn't want to do this stuff. I didn't know what I was going to do when, when you came here to Chicago, and all of a sudden it just kind of happened. Yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
Right? That seems to be when it happens. Stop taking yourself so seriously and just say, I just want to put together a record that my kids can listen to and say that, my dad did this.
Exactly. Something cool. We were like, yeah, man, I'm going to leave something. And what really projected us into where we're at today is the little Italian lady sitting over there. So my wife, she told me, she said, you need to stop doing everything else you're doing. You need to go to music full time. I go, are you insane?
Yeah.
And she goes, nope, you need to do it. And I said, well, if you're serious, I'll make you a deal and we got to shake on it.
Yeah.
You have to run the business side of it. I don't mind making the music, shaking the hands, spending time with people, but the bookings, the advertisements, those kinds of things. And I'm thinking the reason I made this deal was because I knew I could scare her off.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is going to be, she's going to look at me and go, you're crazy. And I'm going to go, yes. I'm going to keep on doing what I normally do. And she goes, you got it. I go, what? And so it just, she's a really good example of somebody that has taken something on, knows nothing about it, and it's excelled to the point to where people are reaching out to her trying to figure out how she's doing what she's doing.
And she has, because she's all over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time I go to Facebook or anything like that, I see her face. I don't see your face.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, she does a great job at it.
You're exactly right.
So what would you have done if you hadn't been pushed to go and do the music? You said you were done working for the railroad and doing all that stuff. What were you going to do?
I probably would have continued to pursue some kind of career in welding, or done something more with the repo business, or got into heavy equipment, maybe gotten into stealing boats, repossessing boats.
Repossessing boats, stealing boats.
Legally, we were stealing stuff. We just had the paperwork, so that makes it repossess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the path I would have headed down. I came from a small town of 600 people ish, and the industry there was railroading. Right. And what you did was you worked your ass off doing all these other different things until you landed a railroading job.
Right.
Once you landed that job, you stayed with it until you retired.
Right.
That's it. That's where life starts. That's where life ends. And it's a good thing. That's a good thing. Everybody celebrates, and then 6 years after you retire, you die.
Right. Yeah. No, that's
a true story. It's a true story, man.
Yeah.
I have guys that I was, like I said, for 22 years, and I just read an obituary to my wife yesterday of a gentleman that had passed away, and it's the chemicals and all this other happy horse crap, and the equipment where locomotives are about 250, 260 tons.
Right.
So when they're rolling, they don't stop on a dime. So anything that gets dropped or anything that's rolling and you step in front of, you don't get hurt.
Yeah.
It chews you up and spits you out and it kills you. That's pretty much the guarantee. So little dangerous, but if you were smart, you don't have to worry about it. You just, stayed on top of your game. But that was my lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's what I did. And I was okay with it. So when I was approached about doing repo, I'm like, can't be any more dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, So people ask me all the time, like, hey, man, have you seen, some danger stuff? I'm like, I want, a couple, but it doesn't seem like danger to me because I've been around guns my whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
What do you get worked up about? I mean, you ain't going to be the first one that took a shot at me. I was in the Marine Corps, so good luck with that. But it was just, and the more that we have built this, the more confidence that I have gotten as we perform, because I can rely on this crew. I rely on them 100%. Alan is our musical director. He drives the bus with that. Bobby is like a human metronome. He's always staying on top of it. Jenna and him, they melt so well together with what they're doing. And you got Sean over here, and Sean just works off of Alan like they've been playing with each other for 25 years. It's so cool to watch. It's a band that I would sit in the audience and be like, I want to watch this band perform.
Yeah.
That makes me proud.
Who was the first phone call? Who was the first person you talked to?
Bobby.
Yeah?
Bobby was the first one.
What were you doing before you got the phone call from Billy?
I wasn't doing much of anything.
Okay. Nothing. I was 7 years from dying.
I was, and I'd say I retired, and you're supposed to do this stuff when you're 19.
Yeah, right.
So I retired. I had no drums.
Like Jenna.
Sold,
right.
Sold everything I had, moved to Arizona, and then I came back, and then I got this phone call, and I said, okay, I'll throw something together. And put a drum set together. That was less than 3 years. June 3rd will be 3 years.
So you sold everything you owned. You moved to Arizona.
Yeah.
Then you decided, I had enough of this, and you came back here.
It's not home. I'm a Chicago boy, man. This is it.
Right.
You know.
No, I totally get that. I get that. Yeah. So you came back from Arizona and you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah,
and you're looking at now I'm a year and a half away from dying.
Precisely.
So I got to do something.
Right.
And I believe me, it was just one. You're going to do one show. That was it. That was okay. I'll be there for you.
That's famous last words.
Well, I show up and I find out there's 2 shows that day. So see how he rolls. You know, this is what he throws at you. You know. Yeah. So, but unless what I got to say, this man has taken me. I've been to 5 different countries already with him because of the music. Been on live TV. So the crowds just keep getting bigger and bigger. Our audiences are just great. So I'd be an idiot to leave or go anywhere else. Yeah. I'm not having a time of my life.
Excellent.
I tell everybody I'm not as old as I used to be, which is true.
Well, that's good.
That's right.
Yeah. Right.
No,
because that's how I feel. So
no, absolutely. So then, who was the next phone call? We're putting the band together here.
The next phone call was Alan.
Mm-hmm. All right.
He, well, I'll let him tell you his story of his background because it's definitely not a country background. I wouldn't.
So he was the failed metal.
I wouldn't consider it.
I can relate to that. Yes, I did grow up in Mississippi, but I've lived in Chicago for 23 years now, I guess.
All right.
But I primarily was on the metal scene. Kind of had a few bands, mostly with guys in the city, doing more. Really the heavy stuff, progressive, Iron Maiden, King Diamond, that kind of stuff. Really, really heavy stuff like that. Really challenging stuff. But playing to 5 or 10 people, wasn't really glamorous, but it was fun.
And probably all dudes, just all
much,
dudes, to see Iron Maiden. There's not a lot of females in the audience to see. Yeah,
but but I had a lot of good friends. My wife was actually singing in the group and everything. It was a good time, but we had sort of fallen off from doing that around after COVID. We had kind of been idle for a couple of years there, and went and saw Billy play a couple of times. My wife and his wife actually went to high school together, so it's a connection. And I went and saw him play a couple of times. I just told him, if you ever need a guitar player, let me know. And so then, he calls me up, and
like the next day.
Yeah,
as he's packing up to move to Arizona.
Yeah. Stop that plane.
Yeah, right.
But I grew up. Of course, my dad obviously had control of the radio, and I grew up listening to a lot of the 90s country, 80s country. I grew up on it, and it kind of was in my brain, but I had never actually said, okay, can I play this? But so that was a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a learning curve. But I kind of took that head on, and took it on and learned the set, and kind of took it under. And
I have to interject though on this one. See, he's very, very humble in the way that he speaks. He has spent so much time learning not just the set list, but the intricate parts of the set list where we have 4 and 5 guitars that are in the recording, and he picks out exactly what the signatures are of each guitar that he can perform to serve the song to where when you hear it, you go, oh my God, I know what that is immediately.
Right.
And you hear those little nuances, and he works very hard at that. He's actually had conference back and forth with Brent Mason from Nashville. So he studies them, he understands them, and as soon as he learns something, he wants to learn more about it. So don't let him, I don't want him to play it down too much. He works his ass off, and he does a hell of a job. As a matter of fact, you'll get to talk to a guy here in a minute, and Sean made the statement that he plays it note for note, just like the album. So Sean's very impressed with the way that he handles himself, and it's very exciting. So sorry to cut you off, but
if somebody called me to play in a country band, the first thing I'd say is, shit, now I got to go buy a Telecaster.
I've gone through a few. I've kind of settled on. I've kind of found a few that really kind of felt more comfortable to me. But I've been through quite a few.
You didn't like them when you first tried them, though, did you?
Well, I've had a few tellies, but I've tried a few different brands, but I've definitely had to go with ones that were a little bit more modern, as far as the setup and everything, a little bit more, because I'm more of a Gibson guy, as far as like the flatter radius and that kind of thing. So that's definitely been, one of the things that I've kind of gravitated towards. But I've kind of gone through the Sir Anderson, a little bit of the more boutique brands.
Sure.
Right now I'm got a couple of the Ibanez, Telly style that have like the Strat trim and all that kind of on board, kind of similar to the Terry Cass one we have there in the museum there. But that's kind of the one I found that was most versatile one to be able to handle a lot of the original stuff and a lot of the old school stuff, kind of do it all.
Yeah, because I am not a Telly fan. Love country music, play country music.
Yeah,
not a Telly fan.
You're a Strat guy, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I am. And I own one Telly. It's a G&L Telly that I've completely modified on my own because I just don't like the way the necks feel. I don't know. They feel awkward to me. So that's funny that he said that. Now I got to go out and buy a Telly.
It's because I'm funny.
Yeah.
I actually play about half the set with a Les Paul style guitar though.
Yeah.
A Gene Baker B3 guitar. So I've got a bunch of those, but I use that for about half the set. Definitely all the more modern stuff. Definitely is what I use. So
yeah. And you mentioned 80s country. I thought, man, 80s, that was one of the greatest eras for country music to me. I loved 80s country. I don't know what it was about.
Yeah.
There's some, 70s country. Okay. It was kind of a little corny because it was still coming. You felt, you heard a few things that were like, okay, they're still trying to play disco a little bit. And that was kind of weird. But then 80s came around and I loved 80s country.
Yep.
I loved Alabama in the 80s.
Oh man.
That was some of their best music.
And we do their stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny that you brought that up because, like Waylon Jennings,
yep.
Everybody knows Waylon playing country music. Everybody knows him as an outlaw. Most people don't realize who he was a bass player for.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know all of his history.
They have no idea that he was Buddy Holly's bass player.
Buddy Holly's bass player.
No clue. And they still talk about, see? And they still talk about the way that he played the guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, Hank Jr. wrote a song about Waylon's guitar.
Yeah.
Just the way that he handled the frets and the way that he muted, the way he played notes was just on a different level than everybody else. It wasn't rocket science, but it was Waylon.
Right.
Yeah, and he gave up his seat on the plane.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. That's crazy.
That was a close one.
Yeah. No kidding. Well, I'll tell you what. You know what? We have a couple more people we want to talk to and introduce in the band. But before we do that, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and maybe hear some live in the studio. And then we'll talk to the rest of the band members after that.
Sounds good. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Rock and Roll Chicago Podcast.
Your Sunday nights just got a whole lot bluesier. Get ready for the Bus Stop Blues, the show that takes you deep into the soul of the blues with classic hits, road stories, and live jam sessions. Hosted by bluesman Kevin Purcell and me, the one and only Road Bill. The Bus Stop Blues is 2 hours of nonstop blues, banter, and badassery. Check out the Bus Stop Blues podcast at thebusstopblues.com, where you can listen on Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, or any other major podcast platform. Up on board the Bus Stop Blues, where the blues never stops rolling.
And we're back with the Billy Gray Band.
Yes, sir. So this song is called Like Partying with Hank. It actually comes from something that my daughter had said when she was out here visiting with us. She was about 19, 20 years old from Pennsylvania. And we had about 5 shows that weekend, and we were one to the next and to the next and to the next. And the next thing you know, she said, "Man, Dad, I don't know if I can hang with you." I go, "Why?" She said, "Hanging out with you is like partying with Hank." So immediately I started thinking about Hank Jr., and I started thinking about all the wild times that he had. And as you start to think about that, then all of a sudden you start thinking about all of the old school guys. And you start thinking about all the crazy stuff that Johnny did back before 68. And you start to think about, how many times that George Jones didn't show up, or he had a couple extra 2-3 drinks.
Yeah. Or got arrested for driving a tractor on the interstate. Yeah.
And which I mean, you would think, but yeah. So that's how the song came about. And this is our crew. And we got on the dobro, we got Sean picking this one up. So this is good stuff. And then Bobby on the cajon. So this is our acoustic version, and we just love playing this damn song.
1, 2. 1, 2, 3.
I like party crowd. I like hanging with my rowdy friends. I like laying on a creek bank in the shade. I like to get down with that old country sound. I might not be rich, but I got it made in the shade. It's like partying with Hank back when old Waylon used to drink. And old George Jones, he never showed up to play. And Johnny Cash still got high, hiding in the bushes eating apple pie. You're hanging with me, it's like partying with Hank. Yeah, there's a country boy can survive. I still follow glory with American pride. And you'll always catch me in a country state of mind. 'Cause I love hunting and fishing. You know it's always been my family tradition. And women and whiskey tried to kill me in 73. It's like partying with Hank back when old Waylon used to drink. And old George Jones, he never showed up to play. And Johnny Cash still got high, hiding in the bushes eating apple pie. You're hanging with me, it's like partying with Hank. Show 'em how it's done, son. Show 'em how it's done when outdoor boy. Take your son. It's like partying with Hank back when old Waylon used to drink. And old George Jones, he never showed up to play. And Johnny Cash still got high, hiding in the bushes eating homemade pie. You're hanging with me, it's like partying with Hank. You're hanging with me, it's like partying with Hank.
Fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
That was great. I love that. I don't think I've ever heard that one. That was good. That was good. Okay, you can all grab your respective microphones there.
All righty.
You can take a seat there. Yeah. Wow. That I'll tell you what, the dobro sounded fantastic on that. Who's our dobro player?
We're doing this podcast in other languages
That's easy
now.
for you to say. I'm speaking in tongues.
Great. Now
Yeah.
it's going to be all over the world.
That's right. That's right. Fantastic. So I'm sorry. Introduce yourself to everybody again. We went around the table and we skipped over you.
Wait, can I introduce him?
Sure.
I'm very proud of him.
Okay.
Please welcome Sean the Chant.
All right.
He is our dobro player and our steel guitar player. We're very proud of him. We're happy that he came on board with us. He's done a couple shows with us. Mm-hmm. And then he and I sat down and talked, and we said, man, let's do the damn thing. He said, all right, let's do it.
From Chicago?
Yes. Oh, I was born in Evanston.
In Evanston.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the Mecca and home of dobro and pedal steel players.
Yeah, actually, so before I played pedal steel, I started with lap steel. And
Okay.
the lap steel I have is actually a Sears and Roebuck.
Wow.
Like Regal, made in Chicago.
Wow.
Lap steel.
So you were like a little kid.
Well, no. I mean, lap steel was, maybe about a decade ago. We're looking at maybe. And then got my start with that. And then kind of a guy in Texas named Bob Hoffner told me that you should try pedal steel. I said, no way. That's got to be the hardest instrument ever. And, but then I got one and he was right, because I didn't have to do all these slants that I got to do with the dobro or
right.
lap steel, my bar. So anyways, that's,
So, and you made the switch. It was no looking back. So,
yes, sir.
So how does a young man from Evanston, Illinois just decide I'm going to start playing?
Well,
dobro and steel guitar and stuff, because normally doesn't happen. Most of your players are coming from, Nashville, places like that. Yeah.
Actually, when
Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah.
When I was younger, I played a little bit of classical guitar and, a little rock and roll guitar. And, but then I fell into playing with bands in high school that were more, people that still liked the kind of music I liked, punk rock and whatnot. And, but liked, Americana country type blues influenced music. Right. And I got into playing acoustic instruments like banjo, saw accompaniment instruments to serve the song. So that's when I fell into lap steel.
Yeah.
And then landed with pedal steel.
Right. Right. Excellent. You mentioned Americana. Can we talk about how cool it is that that particular style of music has always been around, but now somebody's put a name to it, Americana. Can we talk about how that's coming back again and influencing so many young people, and we're not hearing on every single radio station anymore? I think that is so cool. We have a youngster here that we can talk to about that. Everybody.
Oh, stop. I'm not that young.
Yeah. You're not that young. We're all not that. I think everybody sitting at this table is old enough to be this young lady's father. Yeah, you died already. Yes, right. And you're not as old as you used to be. Right. That's exactly right. We have Jenna over here playing bass guitar. Yeah, she's the youngin' in the group. Yeah,
appreciate for having us.
I remember when you started playing bass guitar.
Yeah, it's it's been 13 years since I started playing. I actually started in a music school. So I went to School of Rock. I've been there for a long time. I started in 5th grade. My first bass guitar was a Christmas present from my dad. Yep. So I saw this big present under the tree. I'm like, what is this? And I open it, and it's a bass guitar. And I opened it. I started playing around with it, and I ended up sitting in my basement for about a year. And my dad signed me up. He's like, you know what? You're going to start doing music. I'm signing you up. So I had a really great relationship with my instructor. He taught me everything I knew, that I know today. I thank him every time because he's like an uncle to me. But yeah, we've had a lot of gigs over the years. I have a lot of performance experience. We got to play at Summerfest in Milwaukee one time. So yeah, it was really great to kind of build up at such a young age that performance aspect of things, and just really learning how to just learn different genres. I'm actually from a rock background too, so country is very new to me, but it's something that I absolutely love.
You just got to always come back to the one. That's all you got to remember.
Yes, yeah. If I'm driving my car and it's 80 degrees out, the windows are down, I'm blasting some Alan Jackson. Yeah, some Toby Keith.
That's a country song lyric. I'm driving my car, it's 80 degrees, windows down, blasting Alan Jackson. That's a country song.
Write that shit down.
Yes.
Yeah. It's natural. It's natural. Yeah, I'll never forget. So we've mentioned your father on the podcast before. Ray and I are very good friends with her father, Terry.
The infamous Terry Roche.
The infamous Terry Roche.
Got to give him a shout out.
Yes, had to give him, mechanic / sound guy.
America's Most Wanted.
Yep, exactly. And he's hosting one of the open jams that he had at the Milex shop, which became famous. It was shocking how many people showed up to play those open jams at the Milex shop. And he goes, yeah, my daughter plays bass guitar. I want her to go up there, play bass, with her. I think that'd be great. And I was thinking to myself, okay, yeah, whatever. And his daughter gets up there and plays bass. And I was like, no shit.
Yeah.
She can play bass.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's when you get nervous when somebody comes up and they're like, "Oh man, my friend's a great singer. Can you come up and sing?" I'm like, because I've had this bite me in the ass before.
Oh yeah,
more times than somebody get up there and you go, "Oh my God, they're amazing."
Yeah,
yeah. Her daddy has really shown a lot of. Actually, her dad was the one that tagged her in the post that I put out when we were looking for a bass player.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so when we got to talking, and she came in, and what won her the job when she came into audition was she showed up early.
Mm-hmm.
She showed up dressed properly. She, her hair was done, makeup's done. She looks like she's coming in for a job interview.
Right, right.
She looked like someone who's taking it seriously. She brought in equipment that was, squared away. I don't give a damn how much you pay for your stuff. Take care of your shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And you could tell she's taking very good care of it. And she was very interested in being involved in the job. And so, there's the little nuances of things that we do that we're just, one of the people I want to bring up while we're here sitting, that I didn't get a chance to bring up, actually the very first person that ever joined me in my journey is Eric Durant, Evo. We call him. He's a sound man.
Okay.
And he heard me sing. He actually mixed me one time, and he came to me and he said, "I need to be your sound engineer." And he's been with us from the very beginning.
Excellent. Yeah.
And to this day, still goes with us. So,
that's a blessing.
Oh my gosh, man. I can't even explain.
To have a sound engineer that wants to work with your band, because I'm in the same situation. We have our dedicated sound guy. Let me tell you, to just be able to show up and everything is consistent all the time. Isn't that a blessing?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you really don't have any idea how much of a blessing it is until you find, a situation where you're seeing somebody and they're struggling, trying to get the sound to sound right as they're up there performing. And you're like, crap, I didn't realize, I forgot what it was like. But having him there, and he's very calculated. When I say we show up early to a show, I mean, we are early. I want these guys to be up there, sound checked, all our equipment loaded on, sound checked, relaxing, having, 45 minutes to an hour. If you need to go get dressed, you need to warm up your vocals, you need to, go do whatever you have to do to gather yourself before we go onto the stage. And then about 5 minutes beforehand, they meet me offside stage. We say a little prayer, and they'll tell you, we literally kick off our show exactly at the time that we have agreed to at 9 o'clock. If it starts at 9, there's a lot of our fans that are like, man, if we don't get there right on time, we're going to miss the national anthem, because I do it a cappella.
Right.
I start right then and there. And, I think when you do it like that and you're doing it in a professional manner, you start to get that feedback from other people that are like, oh, they do take it very serious.
Right. Not just a gimmick.
Yeah, right. It's not a weekend thing. We're not playing for drinks, none of that baloney. And everyone that comes to the show, they dress appropriately. They present themselves appropriately, and it's a good feeling. And we don't talk about, things in a manner in which we throw the word show out all the time when we talk about where we're going to be playing at. And now people are actually starting to come up and saying, "Hey, we saw your concert the other day." I'm like, that's just so cool.
Yeah, your concert.
Just hearing it that way, and it's like if somebody's picking you up to take you somewhere, and they're like, "Hey, man, we're going to go watch a movie at the house. You're going to dress a certain way." But if I say I'm going to take you to the theater,
right?
You're going to, you
dress up a little more.
Completely. You've taken on a whole different persona, a whole different mindset. And so when I tell them, hey, we have a show, and I don't want to call it anything but a show, that changes their mentality. That says, I got to be there early. I got to make sure if I'm parking, I got to make sure all my stuff, my gear's where it belongs. It's, in the appropriate working order. It's not, we're not taking it lightly. And so, we're just super, I can't say enough about this crew. I really can't. They're just an awesome group, and my wife is she drives the bus, and I kind of just sit back and just sing songs and try to not screw up while I'm up there.
Otherwise, you're gonna be in trouble.
I'll probably be replaced.
Yeah. Well, what they say, nobody's irreplaceable, right?
That's what I heard.
Yeah. So you having fun? You having fun playing with these guys?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I had so far one gig, and I was just like appalled how many people showed up. Like I think like I'm not used to big crowds like that, honestly. And like this little dive bar is just filled to the rim. And I was just so excited, and just seeing their fan base, like all these people are wearing Billy Gray merch. I'm like, this is the real deal. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. Like we have a full summer of gigs coming up, and I'm really looking forward to every gig.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's truly a blessing that they let me in to this band.
And you haven't been with them very long.
No. So yeah, I had some confidence when they were going to call me back. Because they're like, oh, I got good news for you. I'm like, wait, did I get it? They're like, yeah. Yeah.
So that was what? That was February?
That was maybe, it was a few months ago.
Yeah, February timeframe.
Yeah.
They went out of they left me hanging for a few weeks because they went out of town.
And we had a couple shows in Georgia and Florida.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So they're like, well, we'll let you know. And I'm like, okay, when are they going to call me?
Because honest to God, I do have a bone to pick with you, Billy Gray.
Oh,
I will tell you this right now. Because so late October, I hosted the open mic at the Irish place.
Gaelic
Park.
Oh, yeah,
There you go, Gaelic Park. If anybody from Gaelic Park is listening, we're looking for sponsors.
Yes, we are.
Gaelic. So, because your dad was hosting it.
Yeah.
And then we opened up the show together that night.
Mm-hmm.
And about a week later, I was talking to a keyboard player in one of my bands, and I was going to switch some things up. And I said, you know what? What about Jenna as our bass player? And he's like, yeah, that'd be a good idea. Let's talk about, she was pretty good. Yeah, let's talk to Jenna, see what she's got going on. And then we hemmed and hawed and made a couple of changes on a few things and stuff. And I was like, okay, we're going to call Jenna. And then all of a sudden I see this thing on Facebook. We'd like to introduce you to our new bass player. I was like, God dang it, Billy Gray.
It's so funny.
all these people come from West Virginia and stealing Chicago jobs. And what the hell?
It's so funny because when I did play with you the one time at Gaelic, I think we did Boot Scoop Boogie.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm playing country music. I'm giving up rock right now. Like I just had so much
thank you,
fun.
Mike, for introducing me.
No, like
You were an integral part.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I had so much fun because I've never played country music in my life. Like it was a total flip around. Like I'm used to playing all kinds of rock music, Tool, like metal, alternative, like classic rock. So doing country and honestly learning I had a 2-week notice to learn a 3-hour set. And you know what? I just worked on it so hard, even though it was different. It was a little difficult at first for me because I'm not used to country music, but once I pick up on it, there's no stopping me.
You did fine.
Yeah.
You did fine.
Awesome.
We did quite a few. We did that because we did Boot Scoot and Boogie, and we did Ride the Lightning that night too. So yeah, you did just fine. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Different
Thank you.
personalities.
Don't give Alan any ideas. No, we're not going to play Ride the Lightning.
I'll do it with you.
Well,
We'll do a
but I
side
bet you guys do one hell of a not Metallica. No, Ride the Lightning by Warren Zeders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
for a second.
You were thinking Metallica too, weren't you?
That just,
All I could see was
when you say
the
that,
album cover with the chair and the lightning hitting it and the blue.
That's all I was thinking.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I'll give you a good laugh. I grew up on that.
Oh yeah.
I grew up on Metallica and AC/DC and all, and I loved them. But I came to a conclusion that I can't sing them.
Yeah.
So you got to go with what you know and what you're good at. And I really didn't even think that I was a very good singer or performer. I taught myself guitar just a few years ago. Got tired of people shooting me down saying, hey man, I'll come and play with you. And then the day of the show or 2 days before, like, oh, can't make it. I'm like,
yeah, right.
Now I look like a jerk,
right?
To the venue. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's been so cool watching her develop and picking up on little things like when we play Alabama songs, and you hear how Troy Gentry gets in there and he starts doing like all these different these bass runs, and you're like, oh,
it's the octaves and the whole thing. It's like,
okay, yeah,
the bass is a guitar,
right. They start to follow it, and I'm like, damn, man, this is cool. And then, you start to see things that Bobby picks up on, and there's instruments that I didn't even know what that thing called, a slap vibe slap.
Vibrant slap.
So when you play, yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's not the one we use it for, but but yeah, I mean, he brings these in, and then like I said, when you've got someone that has the ability to do what Sean's able to do with the accents, and Alan they just take it to another level, and it's fun to listen to. It's fun to watch these guys do their thing. Yeah. So we introduced them. I introduced them as a band. I'll joke around with the crowd a little bit. You know, I try to be an entertainer. I try to engage people. I try to get people to really kind of hang on to what we're doing, because at the end of the day, as entertainers, an average song is about 3 minutes,
right?
3.5. You have 3 minutes to capture someone, take them away from their troubles and their worries on a little ride.
Right.
And if you're able to do that inside of 3 minutes, you're doing the right damn thing.
That's right.
You're doing what you should be doing. And I think we do a pretty good job of capturing the crowd. And then I bring them into a Waylon song, and we play the first portion of the Waylon song the way we normally would. And then I just start introducing them one by one, and I say, hey, take off, show them what you got.
Right.
You know, they're obviously they're going to stay within what the song is, but Alan gets to a point where I look over and he's finger tapping. It's Eddie Van Halen shit over there. Yeah. And I'm loving it. I love every second of it.
That's because he's bored. He's like, I got to do this.
He's just like, I got to do this. I got to do this. You know, and I look at Sean, he just takes off on the steel guitar and does whatever the hell he feels like doing. And I love it. And he just looks at, and I told him, I said, you just look at me when you're done. You do your thing, man.
Yeah.
And I do the same thing with Jenna, and then Ringo Starr over here.
Yeah.
So, but he wasn't used to doing solo work. He wanted to kind of just stay behind the scenes. I go, not in this world.
Yeah.
No, man. And here's why. You're going to find a young person, male or female, that are watching these guys and their perspective instrument.
Right.
And you're going to be an inspiration to them. How can I make what you do stand out to be an inspiration to the next person? Even if it's an older person that's like, you know what, I've thought about picking up bass guitar, whatever.
Right, right.
Why not? Why wouldn't you? So I forced him to do it. And the only thing he could think of is I'll take the drum solo that's in The End by the Beatles, and that's what I'll play.
Nice.
So the first several times, that's what he did. Then all of a sudden I woke up something inside of this man, and he calls me one day and he goes, I'm going to do something different. I go, okay, what do you want to do? And he said, I'm going to add this, I'm going to do that. And I said, Bob, you do whatever you want to do. He said, I'll roll you guys right back in. And literally he's just kind of, he's taken on such a great persona. And I just love seeing these guys. Alan's not much of a showboat. He likes to kind of stay, you know, in the dark, in the shadows, so to speak. Yeah. But I've tried to encourage him. Hey, man, step forward, step forward. People expect you to show off a little bit.
Back to back.
There it is. There it is.
A little back to back.
Some posing.
Yeah.
Some posing.
Yeah. Jump off.
So you know what that's like.
Yeah.
You know, you want to get that crowd involved. You want to get them excited.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, it's what you're doing up there on that stage. We've been told multiple times, you guys look like you're just having fun. And we are. It's game day.
Yeah.
You know, all throughout the week, we've practiced just like football. And then finally, it's Friday night. The lights are on.
Right.
Let's go have some fun. Let's show them that we know how to do what we do. And this is what we've worked so hard for.
I want to clarify, too, one thing real quick.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Pointing to Alan.
My bass face. Everyone says I have the straightest face. There was a picture taken from our first gig, and they're like, you look so mad up there. I'm like, it's a bass face.
It's an RBF, resting bass face.
Resting
bass face. And I'm telling you, I'm having the time of my life. If I smile here and there, I'll look up and smile. But that's just clarified. I'm having a great time.
Well, I'll tell you what, before we run out of time, we got to get another song out of you guys.
Right on.
Yeah.
This next song I wrote in 2020 in March. And I'll just tell you how it is.
Yeah.
We started seeing people that were being rude to each other. They're videotaping each other, trying to turn each other into the police because they're hanging out with each other. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, what the hell's wrong with you people?
Yeah.
And then I started to see people getting away from, you know, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, holding doors open, saying thank you, being nice, being just a decent human being. And I'm like, you know, I started to think about what's something when it starts to malfunction, electronic, what do you do with it? I turn it off and reboot it and restart it. Right. And sometimes, you know, it needs a restart. And my daughter will tell you that when she was young and she was acting up, my boot would find the restart button in her ass.
Yeah.
And that's how we were able to reset her mentality and everything. And so that's the effect that we've tried to take. When we bring that, we try to give everybody respect. And that's what we're saying in our song. We're saying that, you know, let's get back to simple living.
Yeah.
Look out for your neighbor. Be a decent person. Be a friend. Be a family member. You don't need anything in return.
Nope.
Stop being, you know, you got 365 days to be an asshole. Take the day off and be somebody decent.
Excellent.
You know,
good advice. So that's the song.
Not asshole. It's restart.
Restart.
Actually, so. But yeah. So let's play that for you.
I think you should have named it "Booting My Ass."
Booting my ass. That could be the alternative.
There's probably plenty of those.
In parentheses, you know, restart, boot in your ass.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're gonna have to stand up again.
I know.
Yeah, I know. You got to come all the way out this way or to work, man.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
And I remember where we were with our settings. And here's Boot in the Ass or whatever.
May have to rebrand this. This is called Restart.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Show them one more time. I remember a time we thought the world would end in 99, and everyone partied their asses off. Now 21 years later, everybody's a politician hater and trying to figure out how we got here. Well, let me tell you something, son. The whole damn world has come undone. And it's time me and you had a heart to heart. Let's get back to simple living. Love your neighbor, don't be back giving. Reaching out your hand, pouring out your heart. You wanna know where the problem lies? Well, take a deep look in my eyes. And remember, son, you gotta do your part. What this world needs is a restart. Whoa, whoa. Yeah. Now we all need to learn to love, just like the good Lord above. Build each other up and not tear them down. Call each other friend, no matter what situation they're in. Lend them a hand and help them out. Let's get back to simple living. Love your neighbor, don't pay back giving. Reaching out your hand, pouring out your heart. You wanna know where the problem lies? Well, take a deep look in my eyes. And remember, son, you gotta do your part. What this world needs is a restart. Whoa, whoa. Yeah. Let's get back to simple living. Love your neighbor, don't pay back giving. Reaching out your hand, pouring out your heart. You wanna know where the problem lies? Well, take a deep look in my eyes. And remember, son, you gotta do your part. What this world needs is a restart. Whoa, whoa. Yeah.
All right. You got the button that time. So, since we've got Christine back here, the business manager, So where you guys playing next? Where can people go and see you guys?
White Sox home.
Oh, get over here.
Uh-oh, here comes the boss lady. Get him, woman.
The Chicago White Sox home opener on Friday. We'll be there 10:15.
That was 2 weeks ago.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Did I say
White Sox.
That was 2 weeks ago.
No.
Today is
home opener?
today is April 14th.
What did I say?
What?
2 weeks from yesterday.
Oh,
So today-
yeah.
Today's April 14th.
Yeah.
So where are you guys playing in May?
In May. We have
People do that all the time. The podcast comes out like 2 weeks after we record it. So.
We knew that.
Yeah.
We knew
that's
that.
All. That's all. So
She was just joking.
She was excited about playing for the White Sox home opener.
Right.
I mean, I guess somebody has to play for the White Sox.
So please.
we have Nash Vegas. We have
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Nash Vegas and Oswego.
a couple events at the Frankfurt VFW
Yep.
or Ridgewood Motorcycle Club and Rock. Yeah, that's it. Another charity. And then Jamie's
Warrior
Outpost
Ruck.
and Taste of Westmont Memorial Weekend.
Yeah, Taste of Westmont will be there.
Nice. Yeah, those are some cool places. I love Jamie's Outpost.
What do you got social media wise?
Yeah.
Social media wise, you'll find us on Billy Gray Country at what is it? The Instagram, right? I obviously do not run it. Billy Gray Music for Facebook, and back to the owner.
BillyGrayMusic.com.
There it is.
Billy Gray Music on Facebook.
Yep.
Billy Gray Country on Instagram.
Yep. Oh man, you got a face for radio. That's great.
Yeah.
You did a hell of a job. That was my turn to get her
Resting
back. She does it to me
podcast
all the
face.
time. Resting podcast face.
Resting podcast. Man.
Yeah, she does it. So she does a great job keeping up all the events. So if you go to Facebook, at any point in time, you go to billygraymusic.com or our Facebook and you say that you did not know we were going to be playing at a certain place on a certain time at a certain day, you either get your Facebook in Braille or you haven't been looking at Facebook because she does an outstanding job of making sure. And anybody that wants to, look at possibly hiring us to come and play their venue, there are video after video after video. It's all raw.
There are. I've had to block him because
All raw.
every time I go to Facebook, all I see is Billy Gray. Billy Gray, but I've had to block him.
All righty,
No, I'm
everybody.
just kidding.
This is going to have to be the end of it.
It's going to have to be.
It's
the
going
end.
to.
And
Paul's going to be mad if he's got to edit a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. God, man, I love your music, man. I really do.
Thank you, guys.
Excellent. Very good.
Love your music. Loved having you guys here.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
coming
sir.
out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast is edited by Paul Martin. Theme song courtesy of M&R Rush. The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast does not own the rights to any of the music heard on the show. The music is used to promote the guests that are featured.
Chicago.